Sharada Devi here. We are at day 32 of Ritualize Your Life Challenge. Warm welcome everyone. Today dedicated to the inner weather, our sacred emotions. So we're going to chant to Ganesha and to Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, as we've been doing every single day, I think almost every day, to bless this day and invoke the removal of all obstacles for this 30-second initiation. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Aim Hrim Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Aim Hrim Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Aim Hrim Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Om. Okay, so hello Rachel, hello Anna-Malin, Ulrika, Christine, Beatrice, welcome, hello Erin, so nice that you're here. And all those that are still joining in the meantime, and those that are watching the recording, we only have a few more days left. 32nd, 33, 34, 35, 36, 5 more days. And we're completing our 36 days. It's been quite something. 36 days we've been here. Hello, Giovanella. Oh, thank you for all the loves. I feel them. To meet every day, to show up here on Instagram every day. And it's starting to feel quite natural, or quite normal, I would say, almost. And it's a very special routine to dive with you into this challenge and to stay with it and chant these mantras together, see how we can bring sanctity to every aspect of our life and bring meaning and return to sacred beauty. I'm here right now in a beautiful Buddhist monastery in Italy, where we're hosting a yoga teacher training, and we're very deep into the teachings right now. We're looking at the topic of karma yoga and understanding the law of karma, and so the students are very, very flabbergasted. It's a big topic, karma and dharma, to introduce and also to receive. Many of the students are hearing this for the very first time, and I'm fascinated each time when I teach it, when I myself, I've been teaching this so many times for so many years already, and every time it lands deeper. I've been with the Vedic teachings for the last 20 years, and it still feels fresh, it still feels new, it still feels like, wow, it just blows my mind every single time. And it's so simple, yet it's so deep, and it's so spot on. So, we're very blessed that we get to dive into these sacred teachings and bring sanctity to our life. So the whole purpose, and I just want to share a little bit about karma yoga. It goes really well with this initiation of today, which is dedicated to the sacred in the form of our sacred emotions. We call it the inner weather. So basically, thank you, Romina. That means a lot to me. Thank you. So the karma yoga often is translated as doing selfless service. You may have heard this translation. And if we look into the meaning of Sanskrit, when we look at karma yoga, and when we use the translation of selfless service, it doesn't really translate what karma yoga basically means. And first of all, you cannot really do service without the self. For us to do service, which we in Sanskrit call seva, the root siv or sev, to serve, is the proper word actually for service. And to be able to do service, there has to be a self. We cannot do really the service without the self. And here we're referring to the self, the person that the ego, the identity that we have created for ourselves. And it is important to include the ego. Often, I feel nowadays in the new teachings, it's not so strongly anymore that we diminish the ego, but it still sometimes happens. And I remember when yoga became very popular and the yoga philosophy was spread widely, often there was a little bit of a diminishing of the ego, like the ego is the problem. And so then this whole concept came of karma yoga, let's do selfless service. And that actually leads to, it can lead, I don't say it has to, but it can lead to a rejection almost of the self, a rejection of the ego. And it's very important to develop a healthy ego. And a healthy ego means that we have a healthy self-image, a self-esteem, a healthy self-esteem. And that is very important. It's never said anywhere in the text that really the ego is the problem or we should diminish the ego. It says really everywhere, establish a healthy ego. We get to cultivate a healthy ego. And how do we cultivate a healthy ego? We cultivate a healthy ego through service, through seva. So through reaching out actions, we also call them dhanam, we give, or the panchamahayagnas, as we have seen in our different lectures or talks, initiations. Panchamahayagna, what are those? The 5 pancha, maha, great yagnas, offerings. The 5 daily offerings to be done for the person that wants to grow spiritually. What means spiritual growth? According to the Vedic vision, to discover the oneness between you and the whole world. That is what we refer in the Vedic teachings, according to the Vedic teachings, to that which is the true spiritual growth. In other words, to discover the truth, the absolute. And the Veda says the truth is that you and I and God, we are one being. And so that is what we refer to when we talk about spiritual growth. And so in order to grow spiritually, the Veda says, do the 5 daily offerings, the Panchamahayagnas. I went into them in I'm just looking, so you can go back to them if you want to know more about that. Day 25, day 26, day 27, I spoke, day 28. Those initiations, I talked a lot about them. You can listen to those classes, initiations. So basically it's the 5 daily offerings. So we establish cosmic harmony. That's the purpose of those 5 daily offerings, to maintain cosmic harmony. What is cosmic harmony? Cosmic harmony means to establish a sacred symbiosis, a win-win situation between you and all living beings. So we become a contributor and leave behind, with love and deep respect and gratitude, the competitor in us. Or we simply convert the competitor into a contributor. Not really about leaving anything behind, more transforming these parts in us that have served its purpose and help them become who they or what they really are. And so in the same way, the ego, the one that maybe was arrogant once upon a time, the one that is defensive, the one that is blaming, we can be so harsh on this part of ourselves. And so we don't want to leave that part behind. We want that this part is included, that this part is understood, and that we can transform this ego that was arrogant and angry and blaming everyone, that ego can now become one that is, instead of blaming everyone, that begins to discover that really the world is not responsible for my happiness or my well-being. Why are we arrogant? Why are we hateful? Why are we competitive? Because we have a low self-image, because we have low self-esteem. And this low self-image, low self-esteem. We have developed it very young, in childhood. Being born into a competitive society, being born into a culture or even a religion, even though maybe your parents weren't religious, many of us were born into Christianity, Catholic Church, and the essence of the human is not looked upon as a whole and complete being. We're born as sinners, we're born as incomplete beings, and we're here to redeem ourselves. We're born as different from God, and naturally we cannot develop a healthy self-image and healthy self-esteem, so we become competitor, we become overachievers, and that inner pressure feeds this overachieving, feeds this inner pressure, and it leads to what we see, like we become more and more insecure. So in order to reverse, the Veda says, like, yes, do seva. It doesn't say karma yoga. We're going to look into that in a moment. Like, yes, seva, like we are in service to a greater good, for a higher purpose. And so there has to be an understanding that when I do seva, that of course I'm going to have an expectation. Like, why is it wrong to have expectation? Of course, I'm doing this service, I contribute because I want to establish a healthy ego. I want to have a healthy self-image. I want to be proud of myself. And so I don't have to do selfless service. No? We need a healthy self-esteem, healthy self-ego. It is crucial. The Veda speaks about that. And so through seva, through panchamahayagna, through the daily offerings of contributing, we establish a healthy ego. And that is so important. So when we look at karma yoga from Sanskrit, karma means action, and yoga means here in this context an attitude. And so the attitude is twofold. One is that I do my karma, my action, as an offering to the universe. We call that Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. Buddhi means an attitude, bhavana, an attitude. Ishvara means God. Arpana means I do this action as an offering to God. So beautiful. So karma yoga has these two sides. So one side, or twofold. One fold is I do everything as an offering to God. I do everything as an offering to the goddess. I am in service, I am in seva to the sacred, to Ishvara, or to Devi, or to the universe, to Bhagavan, to Pachamama, however you call the sacred. All names are really the name of the sacred. And then the other side of karma yoga is what we call Ishvara Prasada Buddhi, or Bhavana. So Bhavana, the attitude of Prasada, Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. It means Ishvara, God, Goddess, the sacred, has given me this. Prasada means a gift. Prasada means it is very well given. Prasadam. It is very well given by the universe to me. And so in karma yoga, in the attitude of yoga, I have this understanding that the result, the phala means the result or the fruit, that is given by the universe is very well given to me. So when it is very well given to me, there is a reason. It is given by the universe to me. So what does that mean? That's a big one to swallow. It is exactly what I need in order to grow. When the result that is given to me is pleasant, we call it sukha. It's pleasant. I'm happy. And when is something pleasant? It is pleasant when I get what I want. Then we call it sukha. I'm happy. When it is not what I want, like the prasadam, what is given to me, it is not what I want. Or the palam, it's really the palam, the fruit. It is not what I want, we call it dukkha. Like it's sorrow. Oh, I'm in sorrow. It's painful. So the result of the karma, of the action, phala, is twofold. So it's either I want it or I don't want it. It's pleasant or it's unpleasant. Mm-hmm. And not only that, it is also when we receive this karma, this result, let's stay there. Do not make it too complicated. So it is either what I want or not want. When it is what I want, I'm happy. When it is what I don't want, we say I'm sad. And so now for the karma yogi, so for the one that is practicing the attitude of karma yoga, so I'm practicing the attitude that this phala, this result that is given from the universe to me is prasadam. What it means prasadam? It is very well given to me. It is very well given from the universe. So it means the karma yogi receives the pleasant and the unpleasant as a gift, basically. This is a gift. It's given to me from the universe. If I want it, I can enjoy it. I can feel the joy. I can feel pleasure. I can celebrate. But if it is not what I want, then I also receive it. Even if it is so fucking painful. Even if it's so excruciatingly painful and it's so not what I want. The karma yogi says, okay, give it to me. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I am ready. I'm ready for this gift. And how can the karma yogi see it as a gift? The karma yogi can only see it as a gift because the karma yogi has a deeper understanding of what? The karma yogi has an understanding that he, she, they have projected their wholeness, in other words, their security, their happiness, their love, their freedom onto something or someone other than themselves. In other words, we have given our power away. We have projected our happiness onto this outcome. Every human being has done that. The thing is, not every human being is aware of that. Most human beings, we still make the world responsible for our well-being. For most human beings, the world is here to serve them, not for the sadhaka, the spiritual seeker. For the sadhaka, or the bhakta, the devotee, or the yogi, or the vedanti, or the jnani, or the tantrika, or any spiritual seeker, we have understood that the world is not really here to serve me. In one way, yes, like in one way it does serve me, but I am here to serve also the world. There is a sacred symbiosis that takes place. I propitiate you, you propitiate me. There's a mutual reverence there, and we take care of each other. So I take care of you. How can I give back? You have given me so much. Like the universe has given us the infinite. What has the universe not given us, basically? Has given us everything. And so now, for the karma yogi, he, she, they have understood that in reality, they already have been given the infinite. They are now on their spiritual quest to discover the infinite as themselves. And they have discriminated, understood that there has been a power that has been given away, there has been a projection, and now they are in the process to neutralize that projection and see things clearly, see things as they are. Without this painful situation, how would I know that I have given my power away? How would I know that I have projected my security, my happiness, my wholeness, my love onto the world? I wouldn't know. So the most excruciating pain, the divorce, the cancer, the accident, the loss, it can turn into the greatest gift of all times. It can turn into the greatest blessing. And some of you maybe say, like, how can I see rape as the greatest blessing? Are you crazy? How can war be the greatest blessing? How can starving be the greatest blessing? Right? Of course, we don't wish that to anyone. But even that can turn into a blessing. And we see that in Bhagavad Gita, the great, great story of Arjuna, right? The great warrior, a great hero. He had to defeat his people. He had to kill the people he loved and adored and worshipped, his teachers, his cousin with whom he grew up. And he was in this very difficult situation where he had to fight. And he didn't want to fight. He wanted to run away and renounce the world. And then Krishna told him, you got to stay. You have to stay. This is your duty. You're here to protect the people who cannot protect themselves. And you are here for a higher purpose. And so in that moment, Arjuna was in tears. He was devastated, like lost. And in that moment, in the moment where he was at his knee, in the most painful moment of his life, probably, that's where he became a student. That's where the first time in all these years, he asked Krishna, please teach me, like, what am I really? How will I continue to live with blood on my hands if I kill these people? How will I continue to live if they kill my son? How can I live? Either I will be filled with guilt or I will be filled with hate. How will I be able to continue to live? Please teach me. And in that moment, Krishna smiled. He didn't laugh at Arjuna, he smiled out of joy. And finally, Arjuna asked Krishna, and Krishna began. That's why we have the Bhagavad Gita. That's why we have these most beautiful teachings. And Krishna taught him in 18 chapters the truth. It's a beauty. These teachings there's nothing like it. I teach this scripture every Thursday in Devi Temple. We are right now at chapter 2, so we're really right at the center of it, and Krishna really helps Arjuna see that all the sorrow that we experience is because of wrong thinking, because of not seeing things clearly as they are. He doesn't say ever you should not feel the sorrow, you should not be in pain, but he says that, like, what we're experiencing, yes, we get to experience it, but why we're experiencing it and the reason is wrong, basically. And so the whole really purpose of the Vedic teachings is to help the individual, the person, the jiva, to find moksha. We call it freedom, moksha, Freiheit, Libertad. Freiheit, moksha, liberation from all the sorrow and all the pain. And a part of us maybe says, like, what? Oh, but I'm in so much sorrow. And then there's a part in us that is resisting and wants to hold on to the pain. But the part in us that wants to be free has to be stronger. And the part that says, I'm ready to be free. I want to be happy. I deserve to be happy. I do not need to feel guilty for being happy. If other people are in sorrow, it is not my fault, right? It's also not my responsibility. Everyone is responsible for their happiness, really. And I know this is a very radical view, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do anything to help other people. But do we help because we see people as weak, and we help because we think we need to go and save people? We teach because I'm better and I have something to teach you? Or do we teach and do we help because I see everyone as powerful and whole and complete and magnificent? And I can share what I know or share what I've learned just because someone else also helped me and shared with me what they knew. Imagine they wouldn't have done that. If they wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be sitting here and share what I have learned and what has blessed my life. We do. And so then one day you cannot but also share out of gratitude, out of love, out of joy, not out of sorrow, not out of pity, not out of guilt, not out of a savior complex. No, simply out of joy, out of gratitude, because the whole shebang is nothing but a projection. Nothing but a projection. And we get to correct this projection. We get to correct the view of how we see ourselves, of how we see the world. And so that is the whole purpose of karma yoga, really. Karma yoga does not mean selfless service. Karma yoga is here to help us discover where I have projected my wholeness onto something or someone other than myself. It is here to help me establish again a healthy ego, actually, right? Where I can be proud of myself and grateful for what is given, and then grow as a human being. And so in that karma yoga now, we're going to come to this initiation of today, 32, where it's dedicated to the emotions. Because when we're out in life, right, and we are out in life right now, we've gone through all the initiations from the morning we wake up, we took a shower, we fed, we dressed, we ornamented, we cooked, we sat on our altar, we went out, and go and do our sacred duties, we're in the car, we're exchanging money, we're out in nature. And then as we're out in the world, what happens? Like the world can trigger us, right? So I'm out in the world and I'm experiencing actually the result of my karma. So everything I have done in this life or in a past life, the karma I have done in this life or in a past life is resulting now. That result, as we've seen, is called phala. That result is either pleasant or unpleasant. And so now when we're in the world, we're experiencing all this karma that is either pleasant or unpleasant. And so now today we deal with the unpleasant karmas. And then tomorrow we will deal in our initiation with the pleasant karma, so that we are saying, yes, I welcome you, namaha, to the prasadam, like that which is very well given from the universe, that which is painful and that which is pleasant. And so that which is painful is basically what? The situation is revealing emotions that are still stuck in me. So no situation, no person is actually ever responsible for how I feel. They do not have the capacity to actually make me feel a certain way. They do, because I give my power away. So then, when things are unpleasant, now instead of blaming the person that you made me feel miserable, because of you, I'm a mess. Okay, I take a deep breath. And I feel what this person or what this situation has triggered or activated or brought out in me. And so that's very different when I say, it's your fault, and I point the finger at you, like I point the finger at the world and say, it's your fault that I feel miserable. Or when I say, okay, wow, this has brought out the beast in me. I'm feeling rageful, I feel angry, I feel jealous, I feel rage. And you're expressing your emotion as an information. So, the greatest gift you can give, especially to your lover, is to express your emotion, your primordial ocean, like as an information. Like tell them how you're feeling, if they can. Like some people cannot receive your emotions as an information even, because they then feel blamed or they're scared of these emotions. But excuse me, there are some people passing by. Our students are passing by. They go and practice right now. But for the ones that are spiritualizing their life and want to live in conscious relationships, right? We want to receive each other the way we are, naturally, eventually. But let's say they cannot, right? Then go to a place in nature or go home or anywhere, go to the toilet. Sometimes I used to go to the toilet when I was triggered or activated, right? Just to be able to feel my emotions and welcome my emotions and not immediately vomit them back to the person or to the situation that has caused this or brought out this emotion in me. So in the morning, we've also already practiced like, to create a certain space for our weather of emotion. But then when we're out in the world, like things happen and poof, we just suddenly are like a volcano. It can be. So in that moment, breathe in, inhale, exhale, and give a sound if you're in the right place. Otherwise, go somewhere. And we invoke the sacred in these emotions that are coming up. Okay, we let all this, maybe all these emotions, like all these people are the form of all my emotions coming. So I invoke the sacred in all of my emotions, all the emotions that are getting presented to me, activated, brought forward throughout the day. Because when I'm out, like so countless situations that are here to help me grow, this is how they are. So then instead of resisting what I feel, instead of judging what I feel, instead of pushing down what I feel, if I can, like in a place, I go somewhere, and otherwise I create that, close my eyes and feel this internally, and otherwise I will have to do it. I will get to do it in the evening when I come home. But if I'm in a situation and I cannot leave right away, you can always go to the toilet. Like that's always an option, to go to the toilet somewhere and just close the door. Take a deep breath. Like let the sound out. Sound is one of the best tools to really release the emotions. You can go into the toilet and just shake it out for a moment. That helps wonderfully. You can tap if you feel it's stuck somewhere. Probably have heard of tapping. You can tap. Bring them out in that way. Maybe you can take a moment and actually cry. Maybe like this person, they triggered you. And if you're on the toilet, you can go and cry. If it's safe to cry with this person, cry immediately in front of them. Like show them that you're sensitive and that you got hurt. So then instead of saying, hey, you hurt me, you can say, hey, this actually hurt me, and woof, I'm feeling something deeply. Can we take a pause and feel this together? If the person says yes, amazing. Otherwise, you go and excuse yourself and say, I need to go and take care of my emotions, basically. So I'm not going to now make this too long. There's so much to be said in regards to emotion, and I go very, very deep into emotions in all my programs from all different corners and all our emotions through dance, through shaking, through sharing, through embodiment, through prayers, of course, as well. And so here is an English prayer that I want to share with you that has really supported me deeply in many situations. And it goes like this. I invoke the sacred in all of my emotions. This is how they are. Like just to even verbalize that and say this. This is how the sacred, how the goddess, how God is in the form of my emotions. This is how they are. I cannot change them right now. And to also verbalize that I cannot change them right now. And then I ask the universe to please catalyze my heart. And maybe you can close your eyes and even feel that in your heart. And you maybe want to say it yourself. Please catalyze my heart into a constant prayer and remain as a prayer. I love you so much. This is how the sacred, this is how Goddess is in the form of my emotions. I cannot change them right now. Please catalyze my heart into a constant prayer and remain. I love you so much. And then you feel how the emotions are becoming a prayer, like you're making a prayer. And what happens when we are in prayers, we are using our will in the most powerful way. So in the Veda it says there's no more powerful way than to use our will in prayers. Because when we are in prayers, we are not in resistance anymore. Okay? I'm meeting what is here, and I'm now asking for help from the universe. And one of my favorite mantras for when I'm in pain and I need strength to stay with this pain, because pain is uncomfortable, anger is uncomfortable, jealousy, we don't want to own it up, hate, it's super uncomfortable, grief, all these emotions, we're resisting them so much. And the thing is, the more I resist it, the more difficult it becomes. The faster I can welcome them, the faster they release. I'm always only exhausted because I'm resisting my feelings. And so really, when we ritualize our life, we become masters of our feelings and emotions. We're learning to take all our emotions and ritualize them, like we have been doing, because like every action throughout the day can bring out different emotions, brings out different flavors. And so when they're really painful, you can call in Durga. Durga, she is the great warrior goddess. She is the one that is non-judgmental, deeply compassionate, and has an infinite amount of strength and courage. And so Durga is the great mother, and she who takes away pain. So Durga comes from these two words, dukkham and gacchati. She who takes away dukkham. Dukkham means pain. And so here you can chant. So if you can chant out loud, chant out loud. That's the best way, because immediately you're giving sound, you give expression to the emotions, to the feeling. It immediately helps to regulate your nervous system. But if you cannot chant out loud, in any time you can chant silently. Right? Instead of saying something that you regret, because we only hurt, right? The ego only defends itself and becomes arrogant and says nasty things when it is hurt. And so instead of doing that, we chant. So you can repeat after me. Om Dum, durgāyai namaha, durgāyai namaha. Om Dum, durgāyai namaha, durgāyai namaha. Om Dum, durgāyai. So the ah has a long line on top. We open the jaw to really open the jaw, open the hips, release the tension. Namaha, I call in she who takes away all my sorrow, all my pain. How does she take it away? By me going through the heat of the emotion. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. And so as we chant together, you can feel your emotion like this. Maybe there's anger, maybe there's jealousy, maybe there's resistance. Breathe into it, feel it, and chant to it. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. 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 And you feel how your whole body is vibrating with the chanting. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Om Dum durgāyai namaha. Two more times. Om Dum Durgāyai namaha. Om Dum Durgāyai namaha. And enjoy the immediate result of chanting. And then slowly we come back. And so let the tears come when they come. Offer your tears back to the universe. Write it out, what's happening. Scream, dance, shake. Sometimes we gotta call a friend, right? It's so easy to actually just take the phone, call a friend and say like, oh, this situation, this person, it triggered me. Yes, I know it's exactly what I need. But then you express it. You gotta express it. Deep breathing. So these are just a few ways to release the emotions for us to come back to cool, calm, and collectiveness. So, this was the initiation number 32, a way how to be with the emotions that are coming up and seeing them actually as a prasadam, seeing them as a blessing, a gift from the universe. All my emotions are prasadam. All my emotions are gifted from the universe. And we're here. We can learn how to release them, how to express them, how to create the most exquisite art out of it, and channel the emotion, and transform the emotion, alchemize the emotion. And then tomorrow we'll also see how we can also go actually, and eventually the painful emotion can even turn into joyful emotion. Once I stop resisting the painful emotion, this painful emotion can turn into pleasurable emotions, because underneath every painful emotion there is nothing but ananda, really. Ananda meaning fullness, joy. So even the most painful emotion can turn into the deepest, exquisite moment of grace and joy. And so we'll see more about that tomorrow if we wake up for our 33rd initiation. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Christine. I'm so happy to hear it's a valuable reminder. Yes. And let it be a reminder and apply it. Like, part of it is to start really embodying it, like going out and chanting, moving the emotions, so that all of these things, these emotions are not stuck. Right? We know so much nowadays. We're like, oh, we know it all. But I see many of us, we're still not really practicing it. We're not really embodying it. And so it's so important to really get it out. Because if it doesn't, it does get stuck. And it does create pain and frustration, resentment. And so, yeah, invitation to go and shake and dance it out. And let it become a way of living. Like, so that also our children learn that it's okay to have emotions, express them, sing and cry. And see that as one of the many, many flavors of life. And we're going to do all of that in very much intimacy and depth in the Nectar View in person in Portugal, also in my upcoming mentorship program, the Diamond. It's all about really understanding, but also very much embodiment and applying, like practicing what we know, embodying what we know. So, thank you, everyone. So nice. Philippa is here. Thank you, Rika. Hello, Caro. Oh, is that Caro from Venezuela, maybe? That would be so sweet. And also, if you're not from Venezuela, very welcome, or very warm welcome. Thank you. So nice you're all here. And I wish you a wonderful evening, morning, day. Happy practicing. Thank you, Sarah. Chant the mantra, Om Dum Durgāyai namaha, to establish it, to have it when you need it. Because that's when it's most important, to have this mantras when we need it. And then we meet again tomorrow. Same time, 5 p.m. Central European Summertime. Thank you so much. Thank you, Irene.